Hello everyone. In this series, we'll be talking about the Parliament of India. This video is about the kinds of questions asked in the Parliament. So firstly, what is the question hour? So this is the timeline of the Parliament. As you can see, from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. is the question hour. After that, from 12 to 1, you have the zero hour. We'll be talking about each of these separately, except of course the lunch, which is from 1 to 2. And after that, you have the government business or the legislative business till the evening. So the first hour of every sitting shall be available for asking and answering of questions, which is the question hour. So here this is just a snapshot from Lok Sabha TV where the honorable member of Lok Sabha is asking a question on the use of banned pesticides. So what is the need for question hour? So the Parliament of India has a lot of significance. The government is heavily involved in matters which are affecting the day-to-day lives of citizens. And the ministers are collectively and severally answerable to the people. So he has to stand up and answer for his or her administration's act of omissions and commissions. So basically, it is the power that is there with us, the people of India, and we can exercise a control over our lawmakers through the use of the question hour, obviously through our elected representatives. So what do questions serve? So questions are a refined parliamentary device, and they serve a fourfold purpose. Firstly, they elicit information. So basically just factual information that a member of parliament may need from a minister. Then second is to ensure accountability of the ministers and basically through the ministers of the entire executive. Then it exercises a kind of legislative control over the executive actions. Like I said, along with the accountability, it is a kind of control over the entire government. And also, it also is a way for the government to feel the pulse of the nation. So the government, although it is representing the people, there might be certain issues on which the people might feel in a different way. And this is a way in which the representatives of the people can convey to the government that, look, this is what the nation is feeling about it. So you may feel that XYZ is good for the nation, but this is something that the nation is really worried about, or this is what the nation wants to know, so to speak. Okay, some basics about question hours. So there are different types of questions which we'll be discussing in detail. There are starred questions and unstarred questions. Then there's something called a short notice question. And there's another device which is called a half an hour discussion, which is not exactly a question, but it is related to the starred, unstarred and short notice questions. And hence they are being covered in this video. So we'll be going into detail of all these things. Now, for each question, there is some amount of notice required. A notice of a question has to be given in writing. The notice period need not be more than 21 days and not less than 10 clear days, except short notice questions, because as the name conveys, they require a shorter notice than conventional questions. Now, as far as answering is concerned, the ministries are divided day-wise for answering questions. So let us say on all Tuesdays, ministries XYZ will be answering questions each week. That is how they've divided the days of the week. Okay, so what questions can be asked? If a member of parliament or a member of Lok Sabha wants to ask any question, is it admissible, or are there certain rules and regulations governing what questions can be asked? So yes, there are rules and regulations. The chairman decides the admissibility of a question. So it's basically what the chairman feels about the question. The questions should be pointed, specific and confined to one issue only. It should not contain arguments, inferences or defamatory statements. So what this means is, if you're asking a question to a member of parliament, that is a minister or a minister, you should not be in effect making an argument through the use of a question. So indirectly you should not be trying to make snide remarks or inferences or defamatory statements. The question's purpose should be exactly that, asking for information about something. So there should be no secrets, no repetitions, no discourteous references to a friendly foreign country, no trivial matters, and it should not be about proceedings of a committee. So these are certain things which the chairman keeps in mind. There can be various other things. It is to his discretion that he can decide what question can or cannot be admitted. So what are starred and unstarred questions? Starred questions, the ones which they actually have a star and asterisk with them. So their oral answers are desired, and supplementary questions can be asked. So there are 2 points. They can be asked in your prelims as well as your mains examination. oral answers are desired, and supplementary questions can also be asked. So it's very simple. If I'm talking to you face to face, then if you give me an answer, I can ask you a counter question. So that's what a supplementary question is. On the other side, in an unstarred question, a written reply is desired, and hence no supplementary questions can be asked. So obviously you can understand it this way. If you are mailing, let us say you want, as a teacher, you want to ask me something and you mail me a question and I reply to you, that conversation is over at that point. You can ask me another question later, but it's not like right then you can ask me for a supplementary question. So it's somewhat like that. This is just for your understanding. It's not exactly what starred and unstarred questions are, but just to give you a way to remember this. Then in starred questions and unstarred questions, there's a minimum 15 days notice. And in starred questions, there can be maximum 20 questions per day. Obviously, there has to be a limit, because otherwise there is a very strict timeline adhered to in the parliament, and you do not want the business to run over those timelines. Obviously, unstarred questions, you can have many more questions because they just have a written reply which has to be tabled on the house, and it needn't be answered orally by the minister. So as you can see, a maximum of 230 questions unstarred can be asked per day in the Lok Sabha. Now, in case an oral question is slated to be answered in the parliament or in the, let's say, Lok Sabha on a particular day, and let's say because of the supplementary or because of whatever, that question is not taken up, or that is, that question is not orally answered. In that case, written answers deemed to have been laid on the table of the parliament. So that is answered through the written tabling of the question. Now, what are short notice questions? So first of all, as I told you, the short notice questions are questions which require a notice period of less than 10 days. Now, what matters can be taken up in short notice questions? Obviously, matters which are of urgent public importance. What is the reasons for asking? The reasons for asking, the short notice question has to be stated. So the member of parliament needs to say that why is he asking a short notice question instead of a normal starred or an unstarred question. So the reasons need to be clearly specified. And what is the basic test of admissibility is the urgency of the matter. Now, what is the difference between a normal question and a short notice question? It is basically that in a short notice question, the notice period is sort of waived off to a certain extent. Now, obviously, that will be done in cases where there is a matter of urgent national importance. So, the urgency is the litmus test which has to be there. How are they answered? They are answered at the end of the question hour. They are answered orally, followed by supplementary questions. Again, you can imagine, if you were, let us say, you were designing the system of parliament, what would you do? If it is a matter of urgency, it is a matter of public importance, you will have an oral answer, and you will obviously allow some supplementary questions to be asked. And that is exactly what our lawmakers also did. Now, can questions be asked to private members? That is a question. The answer to this question is yes. Questions can be asked to private members. First of all, who are private members? Private members are the members who are not ministers. So it doesn't mean that they are independents. There seems to be a confusion amongst aspirants. Private members are members who are not ministers in the government. But when can a question be asked to a private member? Provided that the subject matter of the question relates to some bill or resolution or other matter connected with the business of the house for which that member is responsible. Obviously, if you are asking me something, I need to be involved in that thing to some extent, right? Otherwise, you can't ask me about something which somebody else is doing. It will be totally futile. So again, this is very logical. I need to be connected with that matter of some bill or resolution or any other matter for which I am responsible. Now we come on to half an hour discussion. So half an hour discussions are basically conducted on issues which have been a question in the recent past. So let us say there was a question whether starred or unstarred, and the answer was given in the House of Parliament, but it requires certain more elucidation. Elucidation means asking for more details on a matter of fact or any other issue that a member of parliament may feel that this was not covered, but this requires more explanation. So the member may raise discussion on a matter if he thinks that it is of sufficient public importance. Now in this case, if the notion is admitted and gets priority in the ballot, such a discussion may be allowed by the speaker. So there can be lots of half an hour discussion kind of notices which are given by various members of parliament according to what they feel is important and is a matter of public importance. So if the notice is admitted by the chairman of the house, and also it is sort of picked up in the priority in the ballot, then the discussion may be allowed by the speaker. Now normally such discussions are held on 3 days in a week from 5:30 to 6 in the evening. So that is a half an hour discussion. Points to remember: they relate to questions which have been asked in the house, whether starred or unstarred, and they require elucidation or detailing on a matter of fact, and it has to be a matter of sufficient public importance. The notice has to be admitted by the chairman and needs to be picked in the gets priority in the ballot. So, and that will be constituting a half an hour discussion which happens on 3 days in a week from 5:30 to 6 in the evening. So that is a half an hour discussion. Apart from questions, there are various other devices which can be used in case of bringing up matters of public importance, and these are called motions. There will be another video which detail about motions, but I hope that through this video the concept of questions has been clear. Thank you.